Hello everyone, I'm Ricardo Gonçalves. This is SBS On The Money from the SBS Newsroom for this Friday, the 27th of November 2020. It is your daily 10-minute business and finance news wrap. Later, shares up 11.5% so far in November. One more trading day to go this month. So has the Santa rally come super early? We'll have more on that in a few moments. But first to the AFR Young Rich List, and it classifies young being 40 years of age and under, and technology entrepreneurs have dominated this year's list, which is no surprise given the way we've all turned to the digital world during the pandemic. So Afterpay founder Nicholas Molnar is worth more than $2 billion at just 30 years of age and is at number 4 on the list. Canva cloud-based graphic designers Melanie Perkins and Cliff Obrecht share the number 2 spot, worth $3.43 billion. And Atlassian business software co-founder Scott Farquhar is at number 1. He's worth $17.77 billion, but at 40 years of age, it's his last year being on the rich list. And there are 18 new debutantes on the top 100, with the highest ranking being Selvam Sinapan and Winston Wijeratne. They're the founders of mattress company Sleeping Duck. They're at number 33 and worth $150 million. With more, here is the Rich List editor, Michael Bailey.
Couple of engineers. They use their engineering expertise to design some pretty good mattresses, from all I'm told. And we've valued the business at about 300 million. Could even be worth more if they go to a float next year. It's one of these online businesses which we see plenty in the Young Rich this year, doing very well, of the fact that shops were closed for a lot of this year, and people have a lot of money to spend that they haven't been spending on going out and international holidays. Winston and Selvam, also the children of migrants to Australia. So it's a good story all round.
Michael Bailey there, the AFR Rich List editor. And another debutante is Jeremy Cabral, who is the co-founder of comparison website Finder. The 34-year-old is ranked at number 98 and is worth $30 million, according to AFR. And I spoke with Jeremy earlier today. Jeremy, what's it like to be on the Young Rich List?
Look, it's an incredible honour. There's some amazing people on the list, and I think it's really a reflection of what we've achieved here at Finder as a company. Just an amazing crew working hard every single day.
Can you tell me about your path to Finder?
Yeah, I got exposed to computers at a pretty young age. My dad won a competition through work and won an Amstrad computer, and that got me using them pretty early on. And I think I just had this curiosity, and when we eventually got the internet, I was able to do a lot of research and understand how search engines worked. So I think that curiosity is really key, but overall for me it's the personal sacrifice that you need to make in order to get above everything. You know, it's that work ethic that that matters the most. I really learned a lot of that through my parents. They started a business when I was around 15 years old, and that just really taught me what it took to succeed. It was just, you know, things like cold calling and door knocking, or whatever it took to earn a crust. And I really I think that work ethic is what's flowed through my career and allowed me ultimately to be achieving the success I've had.
And what business did your parents have?
My parents, they originally came to Australia from Portugal, and my dad started off in sales, but then eventually kind of had enough of it, came home, spent 2 weeks kind of pondering on the next move, and decided to start a company called JEM Promotional Products, which is basically selling merchandise, things printed with company logos. I didn't know much about what that was as an industry, so I really took it upon myself to make sure that I immersed myself in that company to do whatever it took to see that succeed. So they've been running that still successfully today, and it's a business built off hard work and just blood, sweat and tears.
Can you tell me a bit about how you went from school to where you are now at Finder?
So yeah, through school I worked, you know, quite a lot actually, and I think that learning to balance both my schoolwork and my work, as you know, I had a job at Big W doing night fill, was challenging, but it also taught me the discipline required and how to be effective and really focused. The day I finished my HSC, I actually went over to my parents' office and started working. I didn't do anything like schoolies or anything like that, and I think those sort of sacrifices, whilst tough, ultimately lead you to a path where you understand the value of that hard work, and that's what's required to succeed in life. I chose to study marketing at university. I had the choice between computer science and marketing. I chose marketing mainly because I saw it benefit the family business. And stayed on with that. I actually never saw myself really leaving the company, but when it came to some of the technology projects I was working on, I was particularly passionate about those. I had some ideas around how to, I guess, get really strong results within search engines, and I developed some concepts which I then went and worked on directly with the company that built them for me. And at that time I then met Fred, who I was following pretty closely online, and he put out a tweet which was asking for my recommendation on which phone to get. Well, he didn't ask for my recommendation, but he asked for a recommendation on which phone to get.
And this is Fred, one of the co-founders of Finder.
Yeah, one of the co-founders of Finder, alongside Frank Frastuccia and myself. And yeah, I actually bought the first iPhone 3G phone in Australia, well, the day it was released, and wrote a concise tweet back to him recommending that he get this iPhone, which was pretty remarkable in its impact. A serious smartphone that was internet enabled, and it was a game changer, obviously, thereafter. That tweet caught his attention. We ended up connecting at a conference and started talking about the big idea of the future and this business Finder and what we could do together. And then the rest is really history.
Do you think your migrant background helped you at all in business?
My parents migrated from Portugal. They didn't know a word of English, and when they came here, and that ultimately meant that they had a lot to do in order to succeed. They had to learn the language and work up the ladder, and that I think the Portuguese culture really is a fascinating one. There's a big focus on sport, so I think that's embedded that kind of competitive spirit within it. But also watching my dad and my mum and how hard they worked when I was a kid, they honestly just had such incredible work ethic, and that for me definitely had such a major impact on my life. And just knowing that hard work was just normal, and that's what you needed to do if you wanted to succeed and get the things you wanted in life.
Jeremy Cabral there, the co-founder of Finder and debutant on the Rich List 198, according to AFR. Now to the Australian share market. The ASX 200 down today by 0.5%. The banks leading the charge lower. Westpac off by 0.9%. Energy stocks also down. Santos off by 2%. And health stocks also weak as CSL lost 1.3%. Gold rose though. Newcrest up 0.7%. Bega Cheese came out of a trading halt 7% firmer after the successful partial completion of a capital raise, which it'll use to buy some of Lion's dairy and drinks business. And China hit Australian wine with tariffs of around 200% today. So it hit Treasury wine stocks down 11% before it entered a trading halt. For more on the day's action, I spoke earlier with Fiona Clark from Merricks Capital. Fiona, the market is down today. Why?
Yes, well, there's not really much to go on. We had US markets closed overnight for Thanksgiving, so we didn't have much in the way of international lead. So I think it's just a bit of a easing in momentum as we look to the very volatile period ahead. We've got Black Friday ahead in the US tonight, which is a very important session for the US market. It's traditionally one of the biggest trading days of the year, and it's an indication of the consumer sentiment or the health of the economy more generally. So all eyes will be on trading performance of the retailers over the next few days. The National Retail Association in the US, or Federation, is suggesting that we're going to see growth of between 3.6% and 5.2% this year, which is a pretty strong performance compared to the average over the last 5 years of 3.5%. But it will potentially be volatile because, of course, bricks and mortar stores will be affected by COVID. So expecting to see strong performance of the online retailers. In the meantime, the futures in the US are down, so that's having a bit of an impact on our market today as well.
We have seen such a strong November. Where do you see the market going?
Yes, records for the month. This is for the ASX 200. It's the best month on record in the 20 years, and for the ASX, it's the best performance for a month since 1988. So where to forward? Well, looking at the reasons why we've seen that rally, the vaccine hopes, the supposedly smooth transition to Joe Biden's presidency, and of course record levels of monetary stimulus around the world and fiscal support for markets. All of those things are going to continue. So in some ways that they will continue to support markets, but offsetting that, we do have this increasingly perilous health crisis in the US with those case numbers continuing to grow day by day, and that will have a very real impact on growth and jobs. So I think that there is a potential for further gains despite these records, but it won't be smooth sailing.
So is a Santa rally on the cards? Because we normally see one.
That's right. It feels to me like we've actually found Santa's secret hiding place and opened up all the presents before the day. Having said that, sometimes these seasonal trends are self-fulfilling. So I think with such low global interest rates, there really isn't much of an alternative for all of this money stimulus to find a home. Dividend yields comparison to money in the bank is still very attractive, particularly since those dividends will continue to grow. So I do think that we do have scope for a little bit more of a Santa rally ahead.
Fiona Clark there from Merricks Capital. That is SBS On the Money for this Friday, the 27th of November 2020. I'm Ricardo Gonçalves. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Business Ricardo.
This On the Money stream is provided for informational purposes only. The content in this stream should not be understood as constituting advice or a recommendation. It's not personal advice and it doesn't consider your personal circumstances or objectives. You should contact a licensed professional before making any financial decision.